Welcome everyone to today's episode of Flat Tire Dan. As always, I want to start out by thanking everyone who has found and subscribed to our YouTube channel, Flat Tire Dan, and has viewed and liked and shared and commented on our episodes. We really do appreciate it. Some surprising stuff happened this week. First, our last episode, where we did sort of that detailed walk around of the Commander, surpassed 4,000 views this morning. Now, I know that's not a lot in the world of YouTube, but for me, it is way more than I had ever expected from our channel. And so I'm sincere when I say thank you for tuning in and watching what we're doing. It feels pretty special, and I don't want it to sound like lip service. So thank you for watching. And then this episode, the content that I had in my head for today's episode was going in an entirely different direction than what maybe you've grown accustomed to on the channel. But then the second kind of, not really surprising, but happened this week, that I guess I need to deal with since I record in the garage mostly, is the pink elephant, or orange elephant in this case, in the room, which is, what is that? Right? So that specifically is a Can-Am Maverick X3 XRC Turbo RR64, which I agree is a ridiculous mouthful, but I don't name them. What happened to the Commander? We thought you loved the Commander. Well, I did. I do love the Commander. But what happened to the Commander? Well, I guess a couple years ago when I was considering getting away from ATV riding, four-wheeler riding, and into a side-by-side, I started doing, and I've been riding four-wheelers my whole life, right? But I was considering getting into a side-by-side, and so I started doing research, I guess like anybody else would, on what machine would suit me best. And I was looking long-term, not only sort of the immediate future, the first few years where it was going to be kind of strictly off-roading, kind of the stuff you see on the channel, right? But I had a vision and a life plan where I was going to be able at some point to take much larger advantage of the hybrid nature of that type of machine, the utility nature of that type of machine, more than I do just around here hauling firewood. And so when I made a decision on what machine I wanted to buy, the Commander was the perfect option. It was the perfect machine for where I thought my side-by-side usage was going. And life plans change, right? So a few months ago, I realized that wasn't necessarily the future of my side-by-side use, and that maybe the future, or my new future, might be more extreme, more X3, right? More technical, off-roading. Not only locally here, taking on some maybe bigger challenges locally where we ride, but also taking some trips out west and getting into the dunes and getting into the desert out there, or maybe heading south to some of the larger, more mountainous, technically challenging terrain that's available to us. And even the stuff locally that I was starting to push new limits on in the Commander, it felt like I was pushing the Commander to its limits or past its limits, and that's just not safe. And then I was concerned that I was going to hurt it, right? And I love the Commander, so I didn't want to break it. And so a couple months ago, I started seriously looking at what machine might better suit now what is my new, sort of riding future plans. And I've become a Can-Am guy, or a BRP guy, where I like the Can-Ams and I like the Sea-Doo stuff. And so I looked at the Can-Am lines to see what was available, and the Maverick is their off-road series, and the X3 is their extreme off-road series. And so I kind of narrowed it down to a couple selections, and I reached out to the dealership that I deal with exclusively. I mean, for me, which is Blackman Cycle Center out of Emmaus, Pennsylvania, which is right outside of Allentown, for those of you who are local to us here. And I know I've mentioned Blackman's in some other episodes, and I certainly have tagged them in the description of several episodes, and most of the off-roading episodes that you've seen. And I do want to take a minute just to kind of talk about not only my most recent experience, but just my experience with them in general. It's just sort of hits home today with the new machine and everything. And what I would want to say about them, I think, which kind of sums it up best, is that everybody that works there, everybody I'm grateful to have made relationships with there, just knows and does their job. I've dealt with the same sales guy for the Commander and the Sea-Doo and now the X3, but I've met some of their other salespeople. I've met the sales manager, and they all work hard. They all hustle. They sell street bikes and dirt bikes and electric bikes and side-by-sides and ATVs and snowmobiles, and I'm probably missing one or two things that they sell there, but these people have to be like versed in all that stuff and all the gear that goes along with it. And then I, every time that I've gone to them with sort of my specific needs, my specific ideas on what I think might work best for me, and they haven't always agreed with that. There's never been a question they haven't been able to answer for me, and there's never been, an end goal that we haven't been able to accomplish together. Service, I had the Commander serviced by them. I've had the Sea-Doo serviced by them. This is going to get serviced by them, and I haven't had problems with anything that they've done. They've done exactly what they said they were going to do in the time frame they said they were going to do it for the cost they told me it was going to cost, right? And those of you that are in this game know how rare that is. Parts, again, I do a lot of research on my stuff, and so I go to them with accessories that I'm looking to accessorize machine with, and they deal with the street bike stuff and the snowmobile stuff and all that stuff, personal watercraft stuff, and they've always been familiar with what I'm talking about, and they've always been able to give me an approximate idea how long it would get there and exactly what it would cost, and so I don't want to go on and on, but I really do value the relationship that I've kind of come together with them on, and all I can say is that if you're interested in getting into any of this stuff that they do, that we do, I would recommend that you give them an opportunity. And so anyway, I reached out to them and I said, okay, like any other consumer, I don't want to get killed on the price. And I knew what I was getting into. But even more so, like I had clear expectations on what I thought the Commander was worth, like as far as a trade-in. Not only just because like I took good care of it, but I had them service it from the day I got it. And I believe I accessorized it in such a way where it added value. So I had a clear idea of what I thought that was worth. And I told them what I thought that was worth. And I told them, hey, listen, I want to make a deal with you, but these are my expectations. And so first they found me this machine. Now it's a 2022 leftover, but it's brand new. It had 1 mile on it when I got it, right? And the research that I did from model year 22 to model year 23, none of the technology changed, just color options. So I was getting the newest technology on a machine that happened to be a leftover. So the price was a little more reasonable. And then as far as the value on the Commander, they actually exceeded what I thought I should get. And how often do you hear that? But they gave me a great deal, and so we made the deal this week. And that's the other thing that happened this week. I'm probably not going to talk a lot more about this machine yet, just because I know it's content for multiple episodes that are going to be coming up here. And the second thing is I don't think I know enough about it yet to really talk to you educated. So it's here, it's my new machine, and you're going to be seeing a lot of it. But since we're talking side-by-sides, I figured I would just give you some more riding content. A few of us got out a few weeks ago, which turned out to be a little bittersweet, the last outing for the Commander. There's a core group of us, like 5 or 6 of us that have been riding together for years. Some of my best friends. And then we've met other people along the way, friends of friends, or people we've met on the trail that have joined our group, and we're happy to have them, like the more the merrier. But it's rare that the 5 or 6 of us get out regularly, at least, all at the same time. It's usually 2 or 3 of us and then some of the new people, which, again, is always great. But a few weeks ago, we all made an effort to get out together on the same day because one of my buddies in that core group had gotten his new Polaris RZR side-by-side, which is a remarkable machine. And we wanted to get out riding and see his new machine, so we all got out together a few Sundays ago. We went to the place that we ride locally, which is called Famous Riding Outdoors. I'm probably not getting into a lot of depth on who they are. I did that in the previous episode. I think it's called Time to Get the Can-Am Out, where I talk a lot about what Famous Riding is and where they're at local to us and that kind of stuff. But basically they have 7 different locations in and around the Pottsville, PA area, 650 miles of legal off-road riding trails, like 20,000 acres or something. But we decided to get together at kind of their main hub, their main home-based location, which is called Darkwater. It's called Darkwater because it's on Darkwater Road, but I'm probably wrong. it's where they have like their big events, like their UTV bash weekend takeover stuff, and their dirt bike racing events that they put on, and concerts and camping and just all kinds of like annual events that they're adding to every year. Big, large events that they sponsor, and that's sort of that location. And what's nice about Darkwater is that it physically, like trail to trail, connects to 2 of the other 7 locations that you can ride at, and each location kind of has its own personality as far as like, you know, hill climbs or mud or trails or rocks or whatever. And so it was a great day because we were able to get a lot of mileage in, which is always the goal, and then we got a huge variety of riding in on the same day, and we really got to see my buddy's new machine and what it was capable of, and you'll see some of that in the pictures and the videos from the riding. The other 2 locations, the second one is called St. Kieran's, and I don't know why they call it that. And then the third one is called 901, and they call it that because it borders Route 901 up that way. And what's unique about 901, other than the great riding that's there, is that the trails actually lead to and connect to a place called the 901 Pub, which is kind of like, you know, sort of a local bar. They've got bar food and cold drinks that you can literally ride to, park in the parking lot, and go in and have lunch, and they're happy to have us. Now, we didn't go there on this particular day, but I've been a few times, and the people there are great. Like, it's a perfect stop if you're looking to have lunch while you're out on the trail for the day. Pictures and video, probably not as many as you've kind of gotten used to, and probably not to the quality that you would expect, but I've lost my cameraman. And so what you're going to see with this episode is all sort of static stuff, like me outside the machine, you know, recording and taking pictures of other people. Although I am looking at and investigating, making an investment in like some serious GoPro stuff where I can give you more live action, more action riding type stuff. And then I'm also interested, like if there's anybody out there that would be interested in doing some photography, some ride along stuff, like if you're into going off-roading, or if you're into going hiking and stuff with Triton and I, or we're going to be doing some watercraft stuff in the summertime, hit me up. I could use some help just giving the audience better content. But it was a great day, and it was a blast to get together with sort of my core group of buddies and get out, and that Polaris machine is serious too. So you'll be seeing a lot of both of these machines coming up. I end every episode by saying, you know, as always, thanks for tuning in. And I really do mean it. Like this sort of new bump I have in viewership and subscribers and stuff like that. Like, to be honest with you, when I was kind of coming up with the idea of the channel, it was more like kind of personally for me, sort of like a creative outlet that I needed or was looking for at the time. And I didn't ever really anticipated that a whole lot of people would watch. Which probably isn't the best business model, but I knew my friends would watch and I knew my kids would watch, but I never really anticipated that people would watch or how it would make me feel, you know. And I'll tell you what, like it's inspirational, it's motivating. You know, my new life plan is kind of settling into place, and I'm getting sort of my schedule sorted out, and I really feel like I want to make a serious commitment to the channel. Like I really want to start giving people more of what they're looking for. So that being said, I really am eager to hear input from you guys out there. What you want to see. I mean, you kind of got a vibe for the channel. Like I said, I'm going to be throwing some stuff at you that you don't expect, but you've kind of got a vibe for the channel. And so let me know if there's stuff that you want to see, or like I said, I'm planning on doing some traveling coming up. Now, I've only got so much time, but you know, if there's places maybe a little more local than out west that you want to see, that me and my buddies can go and take, you know, a trip to, let me know. Like I am interested in hearing on what you guys want to see from me. I'm sincerely grateful that you guys are checking in with us, and hopefully I can continue to provide you content that you're interested in. So thank you. Thanks again for tuning in. And as always, stay tuned for more content from Flat Tire Dan. I'll see you.